If you can please type it in the chat box, and I can make sure that everyone can see and hear me. Perfect. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, everyone. Jenna, Ashley, perfect. So if by any chance you have an issue and it freezes during the webinar, just hit refresh and you'll be able to get back in and see it properly. Okay, perfect. Hi, Christina. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good. Arvella, welcome. Nice to have everyone today. I hope everyone's doing well. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful weekend. Hello from Canada, Sakira. So I'm happy that everybody can be here today for our brow lamination webinar. We know that the brow lamination is taking such high demand. It's so popular right now because it's a way to get our brows nice, thick, and fluffy without any more invasive treatments like maybe microblading. So it's another option, which is awesome. Okay, hello, Danielle. So as we're getting some more people, I see a lot of people from BC and Alberta. As we're getting more and more people in, Pro Beauty Group. Welcome, Jennifer. Hey, Renee. How are you doing, Renee? As we're getting more and more people in, I'm only going to wait about 1 more minute before I can start with my presentation. So today we're going to have a live model. So that's good. We can start getting back to having a live model, but as well, when we get into the demo portion, I will be for sure implementing my gloves and my mask and my model as well. She's not in the room right now as I'm not wearing any of the PPE, but as soon as she gets into the room, she will have a mask as well on, okay? So very important that we have our PPE as well for our services. Hello, Brantford, Ontario, Utah. Welcome, Bianca from Utah. Awesome. So once again, in Vancouver, beautiful places. Once again, I want to welcome everybody today to our brow lamination webinar. We're going to get started so that we're able to go through the demo. And then during the demo part, when we're putting the solutions on, I will head back to the computer here and be able to look at all your questions and be able to answer your questions. So maybe if you hold off on your questions until we get to the step number 1 solution, then I can be able to answer all your questions. Bianca, no, I believe you're like, we have silenced it so we don't hear your background. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Welcome, Sonia. So let's get started with our presentation. I can't see anything. Lubna, can you see the presentation that says hot and trending? Are we supposed to be seeing Chrissy's face? Yes. Can you see me? If you can't see me, just click onto your camera. You'll see at the bottom, there's an image of a camera and a microphone. So make sure that it's unclicked and it's not a line through it or red. It should be green. That means you can see, it's working. I don't know if your camera is loading, maybe it's just a little bit slow on your end. It could be with the internet. So refresh your screen. If you're finding that it's taking too long, refresh. Perfect. So Maria can see both. Hello from Spain. Welcome. Welcome, Melanie. So once again, some can see, but if you're having an issue that you can't see the presentation or myself, refresh. It's going to help. Okay. Sarah, try to refresh as well your screen. If worst comes to worst, you might have to exit and get back in, like hit your link and get back in. But the rest can see, right? Okay. Sorry if there's some issues, don't worry. This will be, because majority are saying they can see and hear. It will be recorded. Okay, so if anything happens and you're struggling on your end, don't worry. This will be sent as a recording to you. And we put all our recordings on our YouTube channel, CBONN, and we also put them on our reflectasoleducation.com website. Okay. Once again, if you can't hear, you got to turn on your settings. It's all about the settings. Okay, so we're going to start with the presentation. It's a really quick presentation because we want to get into the actual live model. So we know, as we mentioned, that it's a hot and trending brow lamination, but let's just do a little bit of a brief introduction to Refecticil. Okay, just if you're new to the brand, just a little brief. Who is Refecticil? How long have they been around? So they are world leading brand since 1930. So they are around for over 70 years, and they are represented in more than 65 countries and as lash and brow tints, right? So they're very well known for their lash and brow tints. Now they are as well with their lash lift, lash curl, and now brow lamination. Okay, so very good reputation. Everybody that we talk to, even at trade shows, will let us know that they've been using this for over 30 years or 20 years because it's been around and has a really great reputation. Okay. Can't see here and refreshed, reopened the window. Am I missing something? Not quite sure. There's 3 people who are having that issue. So just keep, oh, there's more people. There's a lot more. Okay, so I see there's about 4 people that are having issue. Please, can you try and get back in? Thanks, Shannon. Can you try and get back into your page? Because I see that there's about 4 of you that were having issue, but the rest can see in here. I can see in here, tell them to try another browser. Yes, true. Try another browser as well. But once again, don't fret, because the longer we try to troubleshoot, the harder will be for us to finish, especially if people need to be doing something else as well. If people started work, don't worry. We will be putting it on our YouTube channel and on our Refecticil channel. Okay. So let's go to the trend. So as somebody, I thank you for everybody writing your comments. If you write your comments in there, that's awesome, because then the other person that's on there can see. We were told, Angel wrote, try Chrome. So try a different browser, and that should help. Okay. Thank you for helping me, everyone. Okay. So the trend, we know that everybody wants, but few of us can achieve or don't have that look. When they're beautifully defined, our brows, they're full yet natural looking. Some of us might be lacking that, and we might have to be taking some other measures like microblading, but microblading can cost a lot, can be invasive. It's not for everyone. So this is an awesome opportunity to get your thinned out brows to look more fluffy, feathered look, as the type of words that we use, or lamination. So we'll see 3 different looks that you can manipulate with the brow lamination or with the solutions to create a more laminated look, which is more pressed down, or a more fluffier, feathery look. Okay. So we get more volume, stability, and fullness with the brow lamination. Everything we all want on our brows. Okay. So Sakira, the thing is, I have as well thinning brows. My brows are thinning, and in some areas I do have gaps, but it's not a great excess, the gaps. So in that sense, when I do a brow lamination, because my brows also, the hairs are a little bit longer, I do get that coverage and that fullness. And in areas that are a little bit more gappy, I just take a really good pencil or your tint, and I just do strokes in that area. So, but if your brows tend to be a lot more gapped out and in a lot of areas, it might be a little bit harder, but it might be that you'll have to fill in those areas still with a little bit of a pencil. So you'll get where the other hairs are fuller. It will look fuller and bigger, the brow, but the areas that are more gapped out, you'll have to spend a little bit of time just to create those strokes with the hair, or get a tint like our sensitive or like a henna that can stain the skin as well and keep it there for a couple of days. Okay. So let's go to our next page, the service. So the new brow lamination by Refecticil service breathes new life into eyebrows, because it does give that new look, and cohorses the brow hairs into an ideal shape that will last and last. So we usually say with brow lamination, it will last about maybe 3 weeks or so. It doesn't last as long as a lash lift. Okay, the area on the brow is a little bit more manipulated. We touch it more. It's exposed more to sweat and stuff, so it won't be able to last as long. But for me, when I do it, that 3-week wear that I get, I love it. Along with my styling gel, I can maintain their shape with the styling gel. So make that your buddy every morning. Okay. So can you use henna on brows? Yes, you can. The only thing I think, which I have to clarify again, is with the brow lamination, they have said that the henna might not work, the technology of the henna with brow lamination. So I have sent an email to clarify as to the reasoning. I'm not quite sure if it has to do something with the follicle, that maybe it's closed after, or it just doesn't allow, not the follicle, but maybe the solution doesn't allow the staining of the henna. So maybe it might be that you have to wait a couple of days later, but I don't want to give because I haven't tried it yet with a henna. I just do it with our Reflectisol original tints with our oxidants. So I don't know. I'm waiting for them to clarify the reasoning why it won't work. Okay. Okay, so the wonderful thing about, let's get to the next page. The great thing about our new brow lamination is that you don't need to go purchase another kit. You can use our lash lift or our curl kit to be able to do the brow lamination. So no worries about having to spend more money to get another kit and have duplicate of supplies. So in the kit of your lash lift or your lash curl, you have your lash perm solution and your neutralizer solution. And these two are the solutions that you're going to be using for the brow lamination. So that makes it awesome. Okay. It works fast. So just the same way as your lash lift, you got your 8 and 5 minutes, but sometimes with the brow lamination, you might go a little bit less. You might do your 7 minutes, your 5 minutes, your second solution always stays 5 minutes, but your lash perm gets manipulated a little bit because it's a little bit more of a sensitive area. So you don't want to be leaving it too long. Okay, perfect. And let's look at the solution just to get an idea, because if you already are using a solution for lash lift, you know that the ingredients are collagen and cysteine. So your lift, either on your lashes and your brows, are going to be nourished. We're not doing anything to take away the healthness of your nutrients of your hair and your lashes or your brows. So collagen, as we know, is the commonly occurring structural protein in the human body. And then our amino acids, which are cysteine, these two together, when they work together, they help in hair development, but also to condition and protect the hairs during this process. Or during this treatment. So we're not doing anything to go against it. Welcome, Marlene from Vienna. Welcome, welcome. Now, I think somebody had said a question. Just give me 1 second because it's hard for me to go. Okay, so it works for Nicole. I'm not quite sure why they said that maybe because ours are sensitive, maybe is the one that works like a henna. So if you're finding that your other brand has worked, that when it's henna, awesome. Then you can tint afterwards with henna, or as we will show today, with your Reflectisol original, your oxidative tints. Okay, so let's just go to the 3 looks so that you can see the 3 types of looks that you can do. I personally love the soapy brows. I love that more bushier and a little bit of out of control fun looking brow. And I always switch up between that and the fluffier feathered brow. So you can see that you have the fun soapy brows where the hairs are more manipulated higher and separated to the opposite side. So that's how you manipulate your brush with a solution. Then you have your laminated look that when you're also, it's more pressed down. So you're working with the form of the brow of the hairs laying out as they flow, and they're more pressed down as a laminated look. Then you have your fluffier feathered, which I say it's in between of your laminated and your soapy brows. So it's in between where you can get a little bit of fluffy look, but more controlled and more close to the laminated look. Okay, and once again, this is how you manipulate your brush when you're putting the solution and how you're brushing the brows. Okay. And when we go now to the steps, we're going to go briefly through the steps and then we're going to get the model just so you can see what I'll be doing during the service. So here in the image, we can see you have your lash lift kit, or you can have your lash curl kit. You got your eye makeup remover, your non-oily eye makeup remover. That's micellar as well. So it's got a little magnet technology to remove any waterproof mascara. Even if they don't have any mascara, please follow the protocols. of cleaning the brow area. Environmental factors play a role. Any oils that were used before to condition the brows. We just want to make sure that the canvas is clean and be able to take that solution and work. Okay, so it's a two-step cleaning. You're going to start first with your non-oily eye makeup remover and clean the skin just in case there's any also oils, but also any old residue of makeup remover. But then you're going to take your saline solution. That's going to be your security that everything has been removed, including your eye makeup remover, and that you're starting with a nice clean canvas, and you know that it's going to work to its potential. Okay. And then after you're done removing with your non-oil eye makeup remover and then your saline solution, then you're going to take either your rubber spoolie, because our new brushes, our new Reflectacil brushes have a wonderful rubber spoolie, so you know that you can clean and disinfect it. On the other hand, has the brush with this nice black and rose gold. So take and brush the brows. You want them to be separated, not clumped together, so that when you're applying the solution too, you have that easy manipulation. The hairs are not clumped together. After you've brushed them through, then you're going to go into your applying your lash perm. So just like your eyelashes, you're going to put a pea-size amount into your container. So your kit, comes with brush number 1 or number 2, bowl number 1, bowl number 2. So you're not mixing your solutions. You're going to squeeze a pea-size amount. Obviously, your pea-size amount will be a little bit more depending on the brows than lashes, right? Because brows are more thicker and some might have much more hairs to manipulate. So once you've done that, then you're going to take it and apply it onto your brows. Now, what I do is I take my brush and I dab it on first so I can get it to penetrate in. And then after that, as it's working, I take my spoolie. So say it's about 7 minutes, you're leaving it on. Halfway through, I take my spoolie and I go and I brush it just to make sure that the solution is evenly distributed, and also how I want to manipulate the hairs. I'll lift them higher or I'll lift them up and round them, depending how I want to manipulate. So I go in with my spoolie and manipulate during that 7 minutes. Now, another thing that you can do that you might see from a lot of other brow laminations is if you go to step number 4, it says make sure that you don't apply on the skin. So be very careful with that because it could be sensitivity to the skin. So make sure you stay onto the hair. And if you do touch the skin, which you will, I do myself as well, I make sure I take my Q-tip and wipe it off of the skin so it's not resting on there and it's not going to cause any reaction. But meanwhile, you should have done 48 hours earlier, you should have done a patch test, okay? To make sure that your client will not have any reactions. You should have went through a consent form to make sure that your client, are they taking any medication? What's the medication for? Are they doing any Accutane treatments? You shouldn't be working on somebody's skin if they're taking Accutane or doing any AHP peels or chemical peels or stuff like that. So this is a time, 48 hours ahead of time is when you do the patch test, because people vary in their degree of when they will have a reaction. And the 48 hours is the timing to figure it out. Some people can react in 1 hour and some people in 24 hours. Okay. So once you've done that, so we put the solution on, we manipulated the hairs how we want them to be, we brushed them. Now, if you want to use a brow sheet, they call it here, or your film sheet, or your saran wrap that people use. There's no need to use it with the Reflectacil, but if you wish, so that you can provide a little bit more heat and also a little bit more direction of where you want the hairs to go so that the sheet will hold it down, you can. But just make sure that if you're going to be using the brow sheet or the saran wrap, you need to make sure that you're not leaving it much longer on the solution, because that heat, that penetration makes it work faster. So you don't want to leave it the full long time amount. I would probably leave it on for between maybe 6 minutes instead of the 5 to 6 instead of the 7 to 8. Okay. So once you've done that on there, even if you put the sheet on top, you can remove the sheet and do a little bit of a brow manipulation with the spoolie, and then put the sheet back on. Okay. After you've done that, you're going to take your dry Q-tip, you're going to remove the solution. You make sure that the solution is completely gone, because when you place a neutralizer, you don't want to have in there the lash perm so that they don't work against each other, right? So make sure you use your dry Q-tip both ends, remove the solution, and then after that, you're going to brush again with the spoolie just to make sure they're all separated and flowing where you want them to flow. And then you're going to put the neutralizer. The neutralizer now is going to give those brows the structure according to how you manipulate them. So where you brushed them and how you left them, as soon as you put the neutralizer, that's how they're going to be formed. Okay, so yes, we go to the next slide, which is apply the neutralizer. Thank you, Brittany. So we apply the neutralizer, leave it on for the 5 minutes. Once again, if you want to put the saran wrap or the sheet, the brow sheet, that's up to you. I don't use this, and we don't use glue, as you've noticed. There's no need to use that. Once you've removed the neutralizer, then you're going to take a dry Q-tip still first, because you want to remove any of that excess solution dry first. And then you can take your wet cotton pad and remove the rest in order to prepare it for tinting. The tinting will take, so mix whatever colors you wish, and the tinting will take 3 minutes. Usually when we do lashes, it's 2 minutes, but now we're working with more thicker and more hair. So you can add that 1 more minute and leave it for 3 minutes. Okay, after that, you remove your tint, you take your spoolie, you brush them into shape, you take your, as it says there for tip, you take your styling gel, because it's the perfect finish. It's the perfect aftercare treatment, and it's also going to style the brows into its place as well. Give it that shine, give it that protection, and also it's a retail item. If your customer, you know, we're summer now, so if swimming, yes, COVID, there's a lot of things that we can't do, but a lot of our outdoor pools have opened, the beaches have opened. So if you're into that a lot, maybe it's good to have the styling gel just every morning to place it on so that your treatment can last a while. And I also, after 2 weeks, my brows, because they're very unruly, they start to lose a little bit form of the lift. So I use the styling gel just to form them back up so they can stay up. Okay, so it's a good product to have your customer to have at home as a retail. Awesome. So once we've done that, then you can look at your beautiful results. Nice full brows. As I get older, I notice that my brows are getting very thinned out, and for my face structure, I've always liked thick brows, and I didn't really want to do microblading. So now I enjoy so much doing the brow lamination on my brows and to see how thick they are. And I love to swim, so I don't have to do anything to my brows, don't fill them in or anything like that, but at least they look nice and thick to frame my face, right? This is the reasons that why we have these tints or lash lifts, is to frame our face, to make us look, enhance our beauty without having to wear any makeup. And in the summer season with the humidity, who wants to be wearing so much makeup? Okay, so let's see what the question was. No, we don't need to use any glue. That's what you notice. It's the way that you manipulate it with the brush that you're going to get the form. Now, if you wish to have that heat or a little bit more structure, you can use a saran wrap, but there's no need to use glue. The tint is 1-to-1 ratio. So we say 2 centimeters of your color to 15 drops of your cream or 10 drops of your liquid oxidant. So let's try and get, waxing will be done afterwards. Maura. So after you've gotten the fluffy brows or the look that you want, you're going to see that the brows might need a little bit of structure, meaning as well, you might need to trim them a little bit because they'll be really long, or in some areas might be longer than the other. So you want to be able to trim them, and then you can do your cleaning and wax. So this will be done at the end. Okay. Let's just go down to, just to mention before we go to your questions, if you need to know anything about waxing, awesome brand that we have, Caron Lab, and Holly, our head trainer, has been doing amazing webinars. to help you use Quran Lab properly, because once you use Quran Lab, you will not want to use any other wax. And we have our new one called Bravado. So everybody in here who's doing a lot of brow shaping or a lot of brow tintings, brow lifts, if I would recommend you to please go and watch the Bravado July 20th, because this wax goes precisely to the shape of your brow without any dripping. You give precision to your waxing without any oops or without any mistakes, and it forms accordingly to the brow. So this Bravado gel wax, you will enjoy it, perfect even for other facial waxing. So try and if you can watch these free webinars as well, you can complete your total look with Perfectisil, with your tinting, with your lifting, and then with Quran Lab with your waxing. So let's get with our model. Let's see what Holland's saying. What if the brows are temperamental and don't want to be combed in the direction you want them? So Holland, the thing is, when you put the lash perm solution, it breaks down the bonds and the keratins of your hair. So your hair does become manipulatable. That's the word. You can manipulate them. So, excuse me. So what you would need to do is make sure you put enough solution, and you might need to leave it longer than, so instead of 5 to 6 minutes, you might need to leave it 7 or 8 because it's much thicker and stubborn hair. Okay. So let's bring our model in. So before we bring our model in, I have to prepare myself with my mask. Okay. And then we're going to bring our model to lay down in the bed. And we're going to also switch cameras. So just pause on your questions, because I would like to be able to answer them, but I won't be able until I start working on the model. And then when we put the solution, I'll come back and answer your questions. Okay. So give us a moment to switch up the camera. It's too high. Yeah, let's bring it a little bit lower. So can everybody see the model? Yes, I was changing cameras. So can everybody see the model now? Perfect. Yes. Yes, perfect. Okay, success. Oh no, don't worry, don't worry. That's perfect. Everybody can see, and I can work maybe slightly a little bit. Oh, let me see now. Lower the light a little bit. Put it higher the light. I think it looks better when it's a little bit lowered. They can see the brows better. Yeah. So everybody can see the brows? If you want to make it full screen, I think you have to expand it from your end. No, they can't? Oh, you need to? Give us 1 second. We'll make it full screen. Give us 1 second. Is that better? Perfect. Okay, awesome. Oh, the camera? This one? Oh, okay. So, like that? Yeah, perfect, 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 perfect. Okay, so we're gonna start. So if you pause on your questions, then if you come back during the 8 minutes, during the first timing. So we're gonna do our prep work. We're gonna get our cotton pad and we're gonna get our eye makeup remover. So I'm sure everybody knows our product. Our eye makeup remover, our micellar, is lash strengthening. So it helps to make those hairs on your lashes and your brows stronger with amino acids and moisturize. So it's a 3-in-1 product, this eye makeup remover. So we're going to, I know Most likely doesn't have no makeup on her brows, but we've got, once again, it's a beautiful, hot, muggy day. We have, our environmental factors or pollution to deal with, sweat. So we just want to make sure. Okay. So perfect. So as we clean this, and then our step number 2 would be our saline, just to make sure that we have a wonderfully clean canvas to work with. Okay, perfect. So now we grab our saline solution, and I will show you that one. It's in a nice orangey color, and it says saline solution, degreases. It's a good prep for your lashes and brows. I've also found it helps to give a crisp color when I tint. So I like using it when I'm tinting as well, the saline, okay? So same procedure, wipe the brows. You can go a little bit in the opposite just to make sure there's nothing trapped in there. Perfect. Okay, so as we're looking at Lori's brows, if I get my brush here, yeah, perfect. As I'm looking at, thank you, at Lori's brows, I can see that at her beginning of her brows, they do look a little bit like what a lamination would look, because they are, and I will show you with the brush, they are already up in an upwards motion. Do you see that? So with the brow lamination, I could manipulate it where they stick a little bit up more so that they can be fluffy. We're going to focus on this end to be able to lift it more. Oh, what happened? The coloring? Oh, it wasn't able to see? Oh, it was blurry. Okay, so everybody hopefully can see that. We had a little bit of a blurry moment. So as I was saying, her brows are pretty groomed, so I wouldn't have to groom anything. So we're just going to try and manipulate them a little bit more upwards so they can look a little bit more fuller. Okay. So we brushed them. So we're going to brush. Yeah, as long as everybody can see the brows. Was it better before? Everybody can see now, right? Okay, because somebody's saying no picture. Okay, perfect. Sorry. Do you find that it's okay for you to see? Is it better? Perfect. It's good like that, they said. Yeah, thank you. The light? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to brush again. It's all focused, yeah. So I'm going to tilt just a little bit. Perfect. So we're just, once again, just brushing them to separate them. Perfect. Okay, so since we did that now it's where we can grab our perm solution. So number 1, sorry, my gloves might be in the way, making it blurry, but that's our number 1, our lash perm. Okay. My big fingers. Oh, do you think it'll be better clear? Give me 1 second. I'm going to change my gloves to clear ones. Yeah, because the black is making the camera blurry. So I'm going to wear some clear ones. We're always learning something new with the cameras. Sorry. Give me 1 second. I switched it on clearer one, so hopefully the focus of the camera won't be on the black gloves. Okay, perfect. So let me get my bowl. I'm going to put my piece size amount. My step number 1. Now, as I said, your piece size amount will vary depending on brows, but we've got our mixture in there. I tend to just mix it a little bit while it's in the bowl, just to spread it out nicely. And then you start. So I know because her brows here are already manipulated a little bit upwards, I'm going to start applying first here. That's just me. I want these to penetrate more during this time. So I'm just going to dab it on because then I'm going to do the manipulation during when the timing starts. Okay. So we're dabbing it in, and you see I'm being pretty pretty reasonable with my amount of solution. And as I mentioned, even if you have unruly brows, I have very unruly brows. They're sticking out of everywhere and they're getting very coarse. So if that's the case, dab on a little bit more, okay? A little bit more thicker. And once again, I'm trying to keep it on the hairs. If I do touch the skin, I will wipe it off, okay? Same thing on this side. I'm just going to do the hairs that we want to manipulate a little bit more. You could do those dabbing movements just to do that tap, like that dab can get it pressed in more. Okay. And now because I have it on these ends, then I'm going to go back to the other brow and work the beginning, okay? Because as we said, I did it this way because I already can see that her brows at the beginning here were already manipulated. So I want the hairs on this side to grasp the solution, okay? Let me just put a little bit more. And then we're going to set the timer. For her, I feel because her brows are not too thick, I'm okay with the 7 minutes. Lori, how are you feeling? You're okay?
Very relaxed.
You're good? Okay, good. You want your customer to be very relaxed. Now I did a patch test on Lori to make sure that she won't be allergic to it's mostly the perm solution that somebody would have a reaction, but you have to try on everything on the solution number 1 and 2. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to start my timing and I'm going to go manipulate it halfway through. I'm going to go take my my brush and manipulate the solution. And if you feel like you got to apply more solution after you've manipulated it, go ahead and apply more solution. Okay, so we got it all on her brows. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any. Perfect. Okay, it's really easy stuff. And then I'm just going to take my Q-tip. And because as I mentioned, we don't really want it on the skin. So I'm just trying where the skin is to remove it from there. Okay. I was pretty precise, pretty careful. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to start the timer. And around 4 minutes, I'm going to go back in. And I'm going to check and manipulate it with the brush. Okay. So let's put the 7 and at 4 minutes, I'm going to go in. So now I'm going to see your questions. Okay, so Melanie, I think I'm missing a lot of questions up here. Let's see if give me 1 second. Ooh, okay, camera's gone this way. Hi, hopefully. Okay, I didn't miss a lot of questions. Okay, 3-in-1 eye makeup remover makes hair strong, degreases, and preps help to give more crisp color, collagen and cysteine, conditions and protects. So the eye makeup, are these the notes you're making for yourself, Virja? But they're good notes? You're a good student? No worries. Okay, so yeah, you're helping a lot of other people with your notes. Okay, can you wax the brows during the service? So you're going to wait till afterwards because you just want to make sure that you get the end style of the brows and then you can see where you need to wax. You don't want to like make it too messy just because there's solution. If you brought the wax in, maybe you might touch solution, spread the solution. So finish one at a time. I would finish the lip, then the tint, and then shape. Because you shouldn't be waxing before your tint anyways. You shouldn't be waxing before where you'll have open pores and are able to create sensitivity or a reaction to your client, okay? Please explain how to brush the brows to achieve the 3 different looks. Okay, so for Lori, we're not gonna make it too fluffy, but what I'm gonna do at my 4-minute mark, so give us about another minute, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna show you with the manipulation of the spoolie. Dab and press lash from solution into brows where hairs need it most. Perfect. First on both sides and then the rest of your great notes, Harjat. Everybody's going to be screenshotting. So how much do you charge for your service? Good question. So we said about, you can eventually charge the same as a lash lift. You know, we say usually to 70 to 90 is a lash lift, but the thing is, you have to take into consideration is it won't last as long as a lash lift. So I always tend to dock it less. Like if we're doing 70 to 90, maybe 60 to 80 can be for a just a lift. Once you start doing a tint and a shaping, you can go up to 150 for all of that together. Obviously, you're going to be creating a combo pricing to encourage them to do all three services. And if they didn't want a shaping and you're just doing a brow lift, encourage the add-on service of a brow tint. Because always a tint, whether it's the lashes or the brows, it gives shape and structure and helps to see the style even more, the desired look even more when you tint it, okay? But yes, exactly. Always depends on your demographics too, because we say 60 to 80 or 70 to 90 for a lash lift, but depending on where you are, it might be an area where you can't be charging $80 or you're not going to get customers. So you might have to go about 65, right? So always check into your demographics, check what else other people are charging along the way. And your clients will also let you know, well, this is a little pricey. If you're seeing it's an ongoing comment made by a bunch of your clients, then you understand that demographic is a little bit less the pricing. If you're in a more higher end area, from Toronto, if you're in an area called Yorkville, they will charge $80. They will charge the top, the premium, the pricing, and that's because the demographics is willing to pay that money. Okay. Can you repeat the formula again? Which formula were we talking about, Maura? Can you let me know? If they can't afford carry, if they can't afford 60, you just got to make sure. So when you buy your kit at per se $150, say, and you charge maybe the lowest, which is 60, you still will make, after 3 customers, you'll make back the kit and maybe like maybe $900 in revenue. So it all depends to you what you are going to mark up the price as and what your like revenue would be back. If they can, I wouldn't go lower than 60, maybe not, but you have to check with your demographics once again. Maybe it could be 65 with the tint if you find that's ideal, because your cost per supplies is nothing. It's like $1. You're using cotton pads, you're using Q-tips, which you can buy in bulk, and you're using water. So maybe you can, if you're able to do it for 60 in your area, then that's doable, and maybe 65 or with a tint, okay? Could you do the service sitting up? Yes, you can. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you how to manipulate. So you can do it sitting up. Maybe with a slight little bend to the back, not completely straight up. But I don't know, a lot of clients, or if you're in the aesthetic field, a lot of your clients like laying down to get services. But yeah, you can do it sitting up. It's pretty quick. We're doing a webinar now, so it's a little bit slower. So when I say manipulate, as soon as you see as I start to brush, the hairs are sticking upwards now, okay? Now, if I wanted that fluffy look, now she does have a little bit of stubborn. I'm going to have to put the solution back because I can tell she still has about 2 minutes left, but I can tell as I'm trying to push them down here, there's some that are stubborn, so I'll have to put more. So if you're brushing them up and against the opposite, you're doing more of a soapy look. If you're brushing it up and slight angle, just a very slight angle, then you're doing the feathery and the fluffy, okay? But you see how the hair is starting to go in that way? Now, if you want the more laminated, you will be pressing it down and curving it a little bit more, but it's going to be pressed down and rounded, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Me personally, I put them all up, okay? But as I'm brushing them that way, I could see some hairs that are being a little stubborn. Also, I'm going to take the Q-tip and clean her skin area because, oh, sorry, I made everybody dizzy. Sorry. As you're manipulating it, you're getting some, right? So just clean that up. So I can see some of the hairs where they're being a little stubborn, so I will apply. So you can go back in and apply some solution, okay? So I see you, I don't know if you can see in the camera, but these hairs are sticking out like they didn't take, their bonds didn't break yet a little bit. So I'm just gonna dab that on there, okay? But can you see already in the camera how her brows are manipulated upwards? Hopefully you can see that in the camera. Okay, I can't see the comments, sorry. Okay, and then I'm going to, once again, go where she has some more unruly. She still has about a minute left. Okay, so we're gonna do the more fluffy, not the soapy. So I'm not gonna start brushing them this way. Okay, I'm not gonna do the more soapy look. I'm just gonna do them upwards with a slight bend. Okay. And now we're gonna just check the other side as well. And if you were gonna put the saran wrap, you would just place, you can either do two on the opposite like that, put them on the opposite, or you can put one straight down like that, okay? And nice and tight and taut. So I can see where some of her stubborn hair is sticking out. It's really hard to see in the camera, but I can see where some of her hair is sticking out. So that means I have to put a little bit more dab on so that it could take form, because you don't want those to stick out because it just won't look good, right? So I can see there, those ones are a little bit thicker. Once again, I'm dabbing it on. These end ones are pretty manipulated, they're good. Perfect, and now I'm just gonna clean her skin. We want less to be touching on the skin. So once again, just wipe it off. Check in with your client again. Lori, you're good? You're good. Perfect. Okay, so I believe now will be time to take it off because 7 minutes is up. Yep, her timing is up. I'm just gonna prepare the 5 minutes. Sorry, I will get back to your questions. Give me a second because I don't want to leave it too long on Lori. So I like to take dry Q-tip and remove the solution. Okay, so dry, 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 dry. Okay, and you can kind of see in the camera each of the hairs, how they're sticking up a little bit more. And then we're going to put the neutralizer. It's going to form it now. Okay, now I'm still a little bit, the neutralizer will help, but I can still see 1 or 2 stubborn hairs there, but the neutralizer will help to get it into shape. Okay, so I made sure that it's all taken off. Now at this moment, if you wish to manipulate it back to where you want it, if you were doing the soapy and you wanted to get them all up again, you can, or if you wanted to do the more feathery, which we're aiming to do here, so I want to keep them a little bit up, but also a little shaped, a little curved to the side. I'm going to prepare the solution number 2 before I remove the other side. Once again, pea size amount. Perfect. And then we're going to remove this side. Dry Q-tip once again, okay? Do not introduce anything wet. There's always one side that will take it so much nicer. So on Lori, her right side was a little bit more manipulatable, less stubborn hairs. Wondering if you can see in the camera, but they're more laminated, more flat down. They're not popping anywhere. Okay, so I made sure my Q-tip is nice and No more solution on it. And now we can form them. So now, once again, take your brush, manipulate them where you want. How I have them now is how I want them to be. Slightly up, slightly rounded. Okay. Then we're going to take step number 2, your neutralizer, and now we're going to form those brows. And once again, same way, I'll start again the same that I did, which would be here. Some more white creamy consistency. And now this is forming to the shape that you manipulated the brows, okay? And this will stay 5 minutes. So this is also important when you're doing a lash lift. When you put the neutralizer, according to the pad size and according to how tight you pulled those lashes over the pad, you're now forming to the new shape. So it's very, very important that you chose the right pad size. We do the other side as well. And being pretty generous. Once I form the brows during the neutralizer, I don't tend to go in it. I just let it to shape, so I don't go in and brush. I leave it there to penetrate. And let's get the beginning. And I could already see as I'm applying the solution, I could already see that they're trying to take form till a flatter, separated and flatter. Okay, so it's much easier, I feel, a brow lamination. It's just you got to make sure that you manipulate the brows to the area you want them, the style that you want them, or the client wants them. Okay, so we have that on. I have a little bit of solution left, so I'm just going to dab it into areas. Okay. And then we can start the timer. And I'm going to reach back to your questions. 1 second. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to just do a little bit of cleaning around her skin, because once again, we don't want this resting on the skin. It's meant for the hair. Perfect. Oops, sorry, shook the camera again. I am so sorry. I'm just going to clean the area around here on her skin. Perfect. Okay. I'll just do a little bit here. Awesome. Okay. So now we do the 5 minutes, and now I can get back to your questions. Okay. Let's see. Wet. Getting them wet. I might have to go upwards. Oh, shoot. Okay. Did I miss anybody's questions? I probably did. So if I don't get to them, repeat it. We already had a webinar for lash lift. We had it 2 weeks ago. It's on our RebeccaSellEducation.com. I will try to do another one again in August. Okay, but right now the one that we did last time live, you can see it at RebeccaSellEducation.com. Okay. How much time can you take before using the neutralizer? As in, how much break time you mean before you get to the neutralizer? Because usually you do it right away. After you've left on the lash perm for 8 minutes, or 7 minutes, sorry, then you take it off with a dry Q-tip, and then you go directly to your neutralizer. You don't leave any timing, right? So the smell, Tara, the smell is not, the lash perm smell only stays for 5 seconds and it dissipates. So you're okay, because other products out there can last throughout the whole service and it could be irritating to you and to your client. The Reflecticel, in like literally 5 seconds, it's gone. But you can always ask your client how do they feel with the smell, right? And be honest with them. Say there'll be a slight smell at the beginning, but it will dissipate. And 99% of the time, they agree with you. They agree with you, okay? So 3 weeks, yes, you can get 3-week wear. What does the neutralizer do? So we talked about how the neutralizer, Sakira, we said that it will now create the form of how the brow should be. So before we took away the bonds with the lash perm, now we're putting in shape back into and we're styling it to stay into place with the neutralizer. So that's why before you apply the neutralizer, manipulate the hairs where you want them to be, okay? Do you find that they can be easily brushed down again to normal, or do you find, you know what, yeah, you can, because some people that I've used for models, brow lamination is not for everyone. I know when I used my sister, she didn't like it, although it made her brows look beautiful, because she was in the trend back in the day where they were very, very thinned out, and it didn't frame her face very well. And then we did the brow lamination, it looked beautiful, but she brushed them a little bit down. To her, even though I just did the calmer version, she couldn't stand it, so she brushed them down. So you can still manipulate them, and if your client has a hard time to manipulate them back down, they can use a styling gel. Okay. Why do you start the outer corners with the solution before? I only did it with this model, Wendy. I started with the outer corners because her beginning of her brows looked laminated already. She's got the short hairs that stick up straight already. So I didn't want to focus on that area. I wanted to focus on the other ones that didn't have that formed, because they would break down longer. They would break down much longer. So hopefully that makes sense, Wendy. So getting them wet is fine. You can get them wet, because after when we use water to remove the solution, like after when we remove the solution, we put water on the brow. So water doesn't matter. Oils, you have to wait 24 hours. And for example, if you're doing a lash lift, or if you're filling in the brows with a pencil or anything like that with makeup that might have oils in it, you gotta wait 24 hours. Or mascara for lashes, we say usually 2 to 3 hours later. Okay. You don't need Vaseline. Because if you try to keep it just on the hairs, they won't get a reaction. Now, Lori had told me before that she does get sensitive to certain things, but she has not turned red whatsoever. My other model, she was not sensitive to other things, like her skin's not usually that sensitive, but she turned a little bit red. But I try to avoid the skin, and you see right away when I see it touching the skin, I go with a Q-tip and I remove it. And that way they don't feel the irritation. If you leave it on there throughout the whole time of the 8 minutes, they will start to feel a little bit of irritation. If you put the Vaseline, just gotta be careful, because when you're manipulating the hairs and you're brushing the hairs, the Vaseline is gonna get mixed in with your solution. So that's why we don't suggest putting any Vaseline or protection cream, okay? Can I repeat the same after 3 weeks? You can, but don't get too overboard that every 3 weeks you do it. They need to have some kind of in-between process time of also taking care of their brows. So selling them a care balm would be very important. So in between their next service, maybe leave a week gap, they should be giving a little nutrients and aftercare, and using the care balm, which is night treatment, okay? Product cost wise, are you using again for one service? So for example, if it's like your cost per supply, you're literally spending like $1 per supply with your solutions and everything. We had a revenue webinar a couple of weeks ago. It's on our Reflecticel website, reflecticeleducation.com. Watch that revenue one, because we kind of did a little bit of a breakdown of what cost it would be for supplies and per service. So that would help you to know, but they're very low, your costs per supply, okay? So we got questions answered. Yes, threading after. Threading, shaping, tweezing, anything like that has to be done after your lift or your tint. Okay? The website is perfectisoleducation.com. Our YouTube channel is CBONN, like CNN, but CBONN. And we put if you go to CBONN, there's also all the videos from Holly for the waxing for you to watch. Our infection control, because I teach as well infection control, but more for Canada, a lot of them are. But yes. So Amanda, you said they went back to normal in how long? The thing is, after you shower or you wash your face, you just need a spoolie brush. Your client will need to have a disposable mascara brush that after the shower, they just brush them back upwards and they stay. Now, if they have more stubborn brows in 2-week mark, if they're like me, I'll start to have to use a gel. So my styling gel to keep them up, okay? So the kits, they vary, Cassia, they vary if you're in the US or if you're in Canada, so we'd have to check with your local distributor. If you don't know who it is, Renee and I would be gladly to help you to find it. If you're in the US, Renee can help you. If you're in Canada, I can help you. And I will have a slide at the end with email to reach if you need any assistance. So Wendy, you missed the beginning of this one or the lash lift? Because the lash lift is up. Sorry, my questions are all over the place, but I think I need to go remove it from Lori. Terry, any questions about marketing? Please email me. I will, like any marketing material, if you want us to send anything, just please email me and I will put the slide at the end, okay? Your model has a nice shaped eyebrows. Can you do the model who need full service with wax and shaping? We can try and do one like that as well. That you can see the complete. So we found out that the henna you can. I don't know if it's going to work with the sensitive because I was told no. So if you're using your practical sensitive, it might not work. I'm going to pause on the questions. I'm done at Sophia, but Nicole and everybody else, I will get back to you. We want to remove the solution now from Lori. That was 5 minutes. Okay, dry Q-tip, upward motions. Okay, dry. And you can see that each hair has that separation, right? So that's what makes them look fuller as well. You can see each individual strand of hair. So I'm going to leave the other side for another 30 seconds, and then during that time, I'm going to mix my solution for Lori's brows. I'm going to mix my tintings. I'm going to mix natural brown with, so equal parts of natural brown and graphite, because she does have coolness in her brows. She has warmth in her hair, so if she wanted to keep the warmth, you can keep just the brown, but if she wanted to add some coolness, then you add the graphite to cool it down, okay? So I'm putting equal parts of both to create my 2 centimeters. And then I'm going to put because I have cream, I'm going to put my 15 drops of cream oxide. Okay, so that's all prepared, and now I'm going to remove the other side of her brows. Now, Lori's brows were also like pretty nicely groomed. So because they were already groomed, also the way you groom it, you can manipulate the more fluffy look. But because they were already pretty groomed, she's almost had like the more half fluffy and half laminated look. Okay, so we've got that down. Now I got my mixture. So I put in our little artist palette here. It's hard to see, but it's my equal parts of brown and graphite with my 15 drops of my oxidant. So once again, I put natural brown, which is your number 3, graphite, which is your 1.1, equal parts, so 1 centimeter each. And then I put my 15 drops of cream oxidant. Okay, I'm giving it a good mix. And I'm going to apply it onto her brows. And I'm going to leave it on for 3 minutes. Okay, so I gave it a good mixed. And it's going to grasp it pretty quick because you've already done that processing with the other solutions. So the hairs are going to grasp the color pretty quick. Okay. So control that, like watch the brows during that timing, especially for somebody who doesn't want them so dark. Okay. And what I like to do is I like to get my just cottons just to clean it up. Once again, so we don't leave it on skin and make it irritated for them. Okay. And what I tend to do is I tend to go back in afterwards when I'm done the other side too. I'll go back and see if I missed any areas. What you could always do if somebody wanted an ombre look, you could have started from here, halfway, left it on there, and then went to the beginning of her brows and put a little bit and left that only for 1 minute. And then you can get an ombre look. Or you can mix 2 different colors, a lighter for the beginning of her brows and a darker for the other ends to create an ombre look. So tinting for everybody is pretty easy. I believe we all, or if you're new to the tinting, it's not hard. It's just getting the mixing ratios correct. And with the tinting, it will make them look fuller as well, because you're going to get that darkness and you're also going to get that the sparseness, the areas that are more sparse, you're going to get those filled out as well. Okay, so I'm just going to get a Q-tip. Okay, so we're going to hit the timer. What I usually do is I hit the timer, and if I like to go back and see, so we're going to put 3 minutes. I just want to see if I left any gapped areas. I like to touch up, just like a painting. You know, you go back. Okay, let me just clean that end there. And same with the other end. I just want to see if I've left any gapped areas. Now, if you feel like for that client that they might have wanted a little bit darker, depending on what you're mixing too, you can make it darker by adding a little bit of black. You can leave it for another minute, but try not to exceed that, because remember, the hair has been processed already. So we want to follow the proper timings, okay? We don't want to exceed and over process. Okay, so I'm going to perfect. So let's see what other questions you have while she still has a minute and a half. So yes, 45 minutes to an hour at the beginning. And then you would probably, once you know what color to use them, once you know how the brows formed and what time it took, you can potentially drop it down to 45 minutes. Now with us, it's because we would have been done now. We would have been able to get it done in 45 minutes, but we had the presentation, we talked, we paused, stuff like that, camera, switch. So you can potentially do it in 45 minutes. Now the other webinar, I didn't want people to freak out, but I was like, if you go any less, I think for some people, they obviously you don't want to rush it. You want to give it to be a spa-like experience for them. So, but on the other hand, our tinting services, our lift services, they are actually much faster, the formulations. So if somebody's on break from their lunch or this or that in a business district or whatever, they can come in and get the service done and get in and out, right? So the fact that they can be done a little bit faster because of the timings and stuff is awesome as well, okay? So let's see what other questions he says. Sort of off topic. The chestnut tint turned the brows a lavender blue color. Huh, that's a good question. I've never had that issue with chestnut. This is Teresa. He said that your your chestnut had turned the brows to a lavender blue color. Now, were the brows by any chance manipulated before with the bleach? Did they do something else before? Did they visit somebody else before and had a service of something? Because the chestnut shouldn't do that unless they use maybe a blue with it, blue and chestnut or blue and red. That does give that more of a lavender look, a violet look. Otherwise, was it our products? Did they use an expired product? I'm not quite sure why that would have happened. I use chestnut a lot because I love it. Especially somebody who has auburn hair, I love to use the chestnut, so I never experienced this. Do you start timing as soon as you start applying the tint? You can. I put it afterwards because I know when I gotta remove the other brow, I manipulated my times, like I know how to use them. Some people will start it right after right when they start to work the second brow, they will start the timer. So for me right now, I can remove it. 3 minutes, that's it, quick, it's done. So we can remove the tint. And as I said, if it was somebody that might have wanted a little bit more darker, you can potentially leave it 1 more minute, or you can manipulate the tint to include a little bit of a darker hue or add a little bit of black to it, okay? But be very careful. So I'm going to remove it. And even though I put graphite, I can see that Lori is a very warm undertone. Because I can see a little bit of warmth into it, even though I used graphite. So potentially if you have a customer like that and they want it more cooler, then make the graphite a little bit more than the brown. It won't be equal parts. There'll be more of the graphite. But still, the coolness matches her hair. Okay. So I don't know if you can tell with the camera. Can you tell with the camera that they've darkened? I can see that they've darkened. And just to the right degree that she would want, okay? Not too overpowering, but then her brows look a little bit thicker, right? So I'm gonna wait just 20 seconds for the other side. And then what we'll do is you can leave it like this. You can put a little bit of water if you want, but if you're not gonna put water to remove it, I just make sure that your Q-tip is not tinted, okay? So if you didn't wish to apply any water, you can just leave it like that, and then we'll put the styling gel, okay? So we're going to remove perfect. The color looks awesome. So once again, if you don't want to apply any water to remove it, just make sure that your Q-tip is not overly tinted, because most likely when they go home, they'll shower too, so they'll get there. So I just make sure that my cotton pad doesn't have so much tint on it. Perfect. And what we're going to do now is we're going to end the service with the styling gel. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of water in that section because I can see some tint. And all I use is water. I don't need tint remover. It's just on her skin here. I'm just going to soften it just on her skin. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my styling gel. So the styling gel is this that we saw in the presentation. Oh, wait, this one. I think your bottle is... Oh, see, it's supposed to be a spa-like experience. So if they fall asleep, that's awesome. You know you're doing a good job if they fall asleep. Twice. That's okay. That's the one thing I liked about going to aesthetic school. When we were getting treated on, we got to fall asleep. We get to fall asleep. So that was awesome. Okay. So you see, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but this has added her some gloss, some shine. It's protecting the color. It's sealing in the treatment. Sorry? No. No, disposable mascara wand. So everything you want to do is try not to double dip. So I'm not quite sure if you can tell. Now you could have, where's my mascara wand? You could brush them out a little bit too, just to see with the solution in them. And you can see that you can manipulate them if I wanted to. Like for example, if I do the corner one here, if I want to manipulate them back down, I can. I don't know if you can see that. And then if I bring them back up, they go. So if it was that the client thought it was too laminated, you can manipulate them softer. Okay, so that's how it would look. The lighting is a little bit dark, so I'm not quite sure how you can tell with the camera. Maybe if we turn a little bit. Is that too bright? Let's turn the light off. Is it hard to tell? So you can see the beginning. Sorry if you can't. If you see the beginning, let me go get my mascara on. So if you can see here, I had manipulated it rounded, but if I go like this, it goes up. So I want to show you that you can manipulate it still. But after the, see how it's up now? Oh my gosh, sorry. Just totally. So you see, oh, that's actually showing the hairs nice. But you see how they're upwards now? Sticking up the hairs, and I can see where I need to clean the tint a little bit more. But what do you guys feel with the look? Do you find that it's going to be easy to manipulate? Most of the people are going to want that more uplifted look. It does look nice and much fuller, her brows, right? Sorry, I just had to clean the tint underneath there because I could see that it was a little too dark. Yes, so you see how you can see each individual hair. So let's see the questions. Whew. Love it, love it, love it. Great. There's no certificates, Tara, for these webinars. These are just to help you to know to use the kits properly and to get another service out of our lash list. There's no certificates, but hopefully soon enough, I don't know when, but some distributors might start offering classes. What other gel you can use? I would use a styling gel. I would use the, I love using the styling gel because you're going to condition at the same time. You're going to protect it. You're going to seal in the treatment, and then you're going to also make it last longer. So there's not a lot of products out there that can do all of that. Usually if you buy like a styling gel from like say Benefits or something, it's just to style it. It's just to make it stick into place. But this one you'll condition and you'll protect and you'll help to seal in the tint and the surface. The mascara wand. So I use disposable mascara wands, and that was the styling gel. I think that's what you were asking. Oops, sorry, Lori. I think that's what somebody was asking. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. How often can we do it? So try and if they have to come, I would say 4 weeks to be a little bit more safer. Okay, because you don't want to over process. So the nighttime though, Renee, wouldn't form the hair. So I wouldn't use it to form it. It's more of a mask. So in the morning when they wake up and they want to give a, say after 2 weeks, they're finding that their hair is starting to lose its shape because they're a little bit more stubborn, use the styling gel in the morning to form back those hairs upwards. Okay, and then the care balm will be more of a mask treatment. Especially if people are over processing their hairs and they're damaging their hairs and their lashes and their brows, you would want to use the care balm to give it a treatment. Okay. Well, clients need to continue to brush them each day, depending on what they're doing with their face. If they're putting on lotion on their face, and they're touching their brows and they're disrupting the brows. If they're washing their face in the shower, they wash their hair and stuff like that. It will just make the hairs obviously move around, but then you just brush through them up and they stay. Okay, so they'll have to do that motion, but they will stay up after 2 weeks, where they might have to introduce a gel like. Okay. Awesome, awesome, thank you. Honestly, I use hairspray to comb mine up and set after my shower. Just sometimes the hairspray might not be the greatest for your skin. It can be comedogenic, so it can clog up your pores. I know people use soap. They take mascara wand and they scrape off the soap and they put on their brows to hold them up. But once again, those are limited. Like soap is very drying. Right? So why would you want to use something like that when you've got the styling gel that's going to do protection as well? Okay, it's the brows and our hairs. Our brows make or break our face. They frame our face. We got to take care of them. Okay, so Reflectus will have a lash booster. Yes, we do. Amazing product. I've been using it on my lashes and brows. Is there a color stain remover? Yes, there is. There is a tint remover. So I can show it. Do we want to bring the camera quickly back or no? Okay, I'll show it underneath here. We have a tint remover because I know the time is over. So I know our webinar is ending, but I'll show you quickly. Everybody should have this in their kits, in their stations. Okay, tint remover. Sorry, I got blurry. This tint remover is to help if you've done staining, if you've done unnecessary staining and you don't want to sit there rubbing with water and then irritating them. If they became too dark, the brows, and the customer is freaking out, you will soften it with this, okay? Are you able to perform this service on yourself? Obviously, if you're a professional, you can do this on yourself. It's not hard. Just don't get any solutions in your eyes. It will burn, okay? I just spray my wand and comb upwards, okay. Sure, it's fine. I'm just saying, just if there's a product that's going to also seal in the colors and stuff like that when you tint, you might want to give that suggestion to your customer. Sell them a styling gel instead of telling them to use hairspray, right? Because the hairspray will not preserve the color, right? If they're having a hard time for it lasting. So then after showering, swimming, or sleeping, will they look this way without brushing them? Depending. I'm a face planker. So when I go into the shower, when I go into my bed, I dig my face in my pillow. So for sure when I wake up, my brows will be a little bit wonky. So I just take my brush and I brush them upwards. It literally takes me 1 second. I just thought yes, I see tint. It's been bothering me. The camera was showing tint. Sorry. Okay. There we go. Okay, so, the camera went blurry. Sorry about that. I was going to be very happy with the results. Yes, she'll enjoy them. Are you able to perform the lash lift and tint on yourself in 1 at a time? You wouldn't do a lash lift on yourself. It will take longer, but once again, if you're in the professional beauty industry and you're a professional, you could be able to do it yourself. We don't want to teach people to do it themselves. We want them to be going to a professional. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Marlene. The camera went blurry. I'm so sorry because I moved it. Aftercare resources available through Effecticil. Yes. So we will have up on our website aftercare protocols. So give us some time. We're fixing our Effecticil education website, and it will have some PDF files and stuff like that to help. But in the meantime, if you wish to create your own little aftercare kit for your client, it could include 3 products. It can include your styling gel, care balm, and your booster. Or if they don't want a booster, they can include your day and night, which is your styling gel for the day and your care balm for the night. Are we able to do a facial before the brow lamination after? You can do a facial when you have the mask on, leave the brows, and then put the brow lamination on the brows while they're doing the facial, while the mask is on. Okay. Thank you, Sakira. Thank you for being there, and thank you that you enjoyed it. We don't have a henna product. We have the sensitive, which is like a henna, but I was told that it doesn't work with the brow lamination, so I might have to do it as a separate if you want to see how it works. Okay. We already answered. Thank you, Kulwinda. You can do a facial during, like you can do, as I mentioned before, you can do even the brow tinting and the brow lift during a mask. Okay. Fortunately, no certificates, Christina. I could ask, but it's really hard. We don't have a program set for it because we have like over 500 attendees, sometimes even 900. It's very hard, and we don't have a program. Maybe in the future we can look at some online education with certificates. Okay, I will take your request into consideration. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Bonjour Maria, comment ça va? Thank you, Sophia. Those shadows of dye just go off with water. Yep, I just put water because I can see it in the camera that are skin. I just use water. Okay, so yes, you'll be able to watch this webinar again. It will be on our Effecticil education. Give it a day or two, and we will get it on there. I'm seeing a lot of thank yous. And any questions I wasn't able to answer you, here is, can we go to the presentation for a second? This one, right? Yeah, okay. But then we gotta, can they see it? No, we just share it. I just want to put the last slide. I'm gonna put the gracias, bonjour, gracias, Bianca. Okay, so this last slide here, can everybody see it? It says thank you. Excuse me. So follow us on, thank you, Delia. Follow us on Effecticil North America. Follow us, follow myself if you like, Barwista by Effecticil. Like us on Effecticil North America. Go check out it's in process of being fixed, our Effecticil education, but still great sources. All our webinars go on there. And if you have any questions that I can help you to answer, any technical questions, please, refecticil.education@cbngroup.com. I'm here to help. I can get faster as well with emails, because if I'm not in the office, I'll answer my emails at home. But I appreciate everybody's support. I hope everybody keeps on enjoying using Refecticil. And until the next webinar, before and after. Well, the before, we didn't take a picture, but Wendy, did you not make it at the beginning? I can take a picture and we can try and post it on our Instagram and put her before and after. Okay, but maybe you didn't see the beginning of her brows. They are, if whoever saw the beginning of her brows, they do. I'm looking in the camera, they do look much thicker than before. Okay, so awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, you missed the beginning. Okay, it will go up, Wendy, so you'll be able to see it. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your day. And until the next webinar, enjoy. Take it easy. Be careful. Practice proper protocols. Use your PPE. Wear your masks. Wear your gloves, and all will be well. Thank you.